Hello and welcome to episode 216 of the Talking Wednesday podcast. It's Talking Wednesday Live for the last day of the season. We are in the second half because neither of us could be bothered to watch to stream that whole thing and try and talk through it because it's such a dead rubber today, isn't it? But we thought this is going to be quite an exciting 45 minutes. We'll find out who's going down.
It was going to be up until Luton decided to go 3-1 down. I'm so annoyed.
So, yeah, let's just, before we get into any of our usual stuff, look at the state of play, because aren't there like 4 or so clubs that could go down today? But
there was, but there isn't anymore. So it was literally Preston, Hull, Stoke, Derby and Luton that could all gone into the relegation scrap today.
But Luton have decided to go out with a whimper and they're currently 3-1 down at half time.
Yeah, they are 3-1 down at half time, so they kind of ripped the rule book up and gone, sod you all.
Yeah.
Which double annoyed me.
Double relegations look well, you never know, they might have a stormer of a second half. They could do that. If they get 2 back, right?
If they get 2 back, yes.
And they need to win it, and then Derby don't win it, or Derby lose, for example. Yeah. If Derby lose, then
there's still a lot of things that could happen, but you look at all the ones with goal difference down there, it's all the teams that have been battered.
Yeah. We will be chatting about the Wednesday game going on as well, obviously, but that's not going to be our main focus.
On the Wednesday game, congrats on Josh Windass. He had a target, he had a goal, got 53 goals. He's now the century's highest goal scorer.
Yep. So obviously it's currently 1-1 at half time between Sheffield Wednesday and Watford. Josh Windass getting our first goal, and then obviously Wednesday concede. But before we get into any of that, it's been a while, Jake. It's been a couple of weeks.
It's been about 2-3 weeks, hasn't it? Yeah.
How have you been? How have you been? Not your week been. How have you been?
I've been okay. I'm in that really weird period at the minute where my health is on that like steady line where if I do too much, I'm going to be in trouble. And if I do too little, I feel guilty that I haven't done enough.
Right. Okay.
I'm testing something called, I don't know if you've seen it, it's called The Visible, where it'll tell you how much you've done, calculate stuff, and basically tell you to slow down.
It looked like...
I know what it looks like. You don't need to reference Punk Chef 41 first video. It's not that. But it's been interesting. But Friday was weird. This Friday just didn't have anyone in the house. Little boys at nursery, daughters at school, wife was at work. I'm like, this is weird. It's just me and the dog. What do? I did nothing. And it felt brilliant up until I saw the invoice for my nursery fees until I get like a stupid thing from HMRC so it gets 3 hours. For this month, it's under 300 quid for 2 days a week.
Yeah. Childcare in this country is ridiculous. They want you all to work and then it costs a fortune to send your kids anywhere.
Give you like a third of your income to go look at them so you can work. But
that's the kind of thing that political parties need to start to be leading with. You want people in work, provide childcare.
Yeah.
Like it shouldn't be that hard, should it? But anyway.
No. And I've already seen next month because it's a full month. All I'm gonna say is YouTube will be paying my child support in terms of that thing if I have a good month.
Child support? Have you and Sarah broken up?
Yeah. I live here now. I'm not allowed down there now.
But
you know what I mean, childcare. But it can be it can be an interesting thing. But it's been good. It's just making the most of the weather. How have you been? How was your break?
It was good. It's been a lovely 2 weeks. I didn't go away for 2 weeks. The first week I was at
lovely. You hadn't had to deal with Jack.
Yeah, I know. I watched that because you went. Can you went on the last podcast? You were like just before you because you sent it me while I was in Italy. But you say, can you please watch this because I'm not sure about it before I send it out. And I understand why you asked me to do that because you were reining Jack in for about an hour and a half. So
reining Jack in, and you picked the 1 week to go away where it was all words in a document, and I had to do reading.
Yeah, well, I
made this very clear on this chance. I am the resident dyslexic of this podcast. You give me a lot of words, I'm going to struggle.
It was unfortunate for you, the timing of that.
Well,
Wednesday, I've kicked back off for the second half, but we had a situation where the first weekend we were. How have I gone to Italy and come back whiter? Bob asked. I believe it or not, I have actually. It's because I've changed the lighting in here, but I have actually got a little bit of a tan. You can't even. It doesn't look.
You can't even see it.
See it. But yeah. So the first weekend, our friends got married over Easter weekend, so that's why I wasn't here that weekend.
Yep.
And I suffered for a couple of days after that because I'm nearly 30, and that hangovers last longer now.
Yeah.
Then last weekend, yes, we went to Italy for 4 days. Well, technically, it was meant to be 5 days, 4 nights.
Right.
However, I decided to take a gamble on Ryanair for the first time in my life.
What is a good gamble or bad gamble?
So the flight was due to set off to Venice at 3:30.
Right.
Do you want to know when we got in the air?
Go on.
9:15. So one of our days was just wiped out completely.
Yeah.
We look because it's been that delayed. We should be able to get some sort of national compensation for that. So we're looking into that, which might actually pay for a fair chunk of the trip because it's a flat rate compensation. I think.
Yeah, it's that whole thing. If we delay you by a certain amount of time, you'll get
a couple £100, I think. Yeah.
Most of the time, some people will get their travel or their accommodation that they paid for that whole trip back.
Well, actually, I think we were reading into it, and it doesn't matter what you spend because we were delayed over 5 hours. I think.
Did you say why you were delayed?
They weren't supposed to, but I think one of the cabin crew basically said there was a fuel leak on the first plane, right? Which obviously we wouldn't have wanted up in the air, but they kept delaying it by an hour. So we were sat in the terminal from 1 o'clock, by the way, because we were there 2 hours early, right? And every hour they just delayed it by an hour, and they weren't really telling us what was going on. We thought, this is going to get cancelled. We basically just sat there and then found a bar, which is a bad idea in the airport because we were just then sat there just drinking. But it was a case of it kept getting delayed an hour. And then they said...
At what point did you feel like you were just going to be the terminal moving, you were all going to live in the airport?
Well, they actually changed the terminal that we were flying from to 2 different flights. Originally, we were going to go to Barcelona, but I didn't go to Barcelona because the flight was late in and late out, an early out, sorry. And then the Barcelona flight left before us. Because of the delay. We literally were there 4 hours and the Barcelona flight left. Oh, interesting. Charles has just come out to collect one there. But yeah, so we were sat there. We were going from Manchester. They took the plane to Heathrow that came back from Venice. So there was only one flight from Venice and then one flight out that afternoon. And then that was it for Venice flights. So they dropped it in London and then they were going to send us the plane up from London. However, it took them all day to figure out that they couldn't fix the leak, apparently. And then they sent us a plane. And then we ended up getting on it. And we got into Venice because Venice is an hour in front, by the way. So Italy's an hour in front. I think we landed at 10 to midnight Venice time.
Day.
But the problem was the water taxis in Venice. You don't just get by on car, right? No. We'd have had to get a water taxi, which would have cost us about €200 at that time. We bolted and got the last water bus to Venice, the actual place we were staying. And obviously we got charged a late fee because we were checking in after midnight. So you'll
get some money back.
We'll get that back. But actually, technically, it's a flat rate. Bob says it's 160. It's between that and 220. I think we might even qualify for the 220 each. So that should pay for quite a lot of it. And I'll be honest, it did set us up. And then the whole next day, so the Friday, we were knackered because we were going to get up to walk around, but we were shattered from standing in a bloody airport all day and then sitting for off. It was just a case of we were exhausted. So it didn't really get going until the Saturday, but the Saturday onwards was lovely. Lovely city. Great to then that Saturday night look on my phone after I'd just been drinking many beverages and eating many delicious carbohydrates to then see all the engagement panel stuff.
Yep.
That was interesting.
I literally saw it and I was like, oh, can I even be bothered to make a video at this time of night? I went back to playing Call of Duty.
Well, I was an hour ahead of you, and I just said, look, can you two do something on this at some point, and I'll try and download it while I'm in Italy. And I did download it, but I didn't get around to watching it because then when we were trying to get out of Venice, the water taxis messed up. Honestly, transport was not ideal, but the city was lovely. It was a lovely little break. Sort of an early 30th, because my 30th is not till next week, obviously. Next month. But it was this month actually now. But it was May.
What can I say?
But it was an early sort of trip out there, a bit of a reset. And it was nice to do that. Forget about Wednesday for a while. I couldn't really fully forget about Wednesday, but you know when you got a dead rubber end of the season, it's kind of nice to be able to.
To be fair though, this is the first time we've had one of these for so many years.
Yeah. So it was a good time
the last like 3 seasons, we've had something on. We've had either a relegation battle, a promotion push, a promotion push. So it was nice to kind of like have a season where it is what it is. And everything at minute Wednesday wise is so up in the air with everything. It's ridiculous.
So it is. There's a lot going on. We are going to do the news as normal. Obviously, it's a bit different because Wednesday are currently playing as we do this podcast.
Watford got a corner currently.
Yeah, they've messed it up. We're on the counter actually now. I think I'm slightly ahead of you.
You are once.
Yeah, I know that's weird. But it's a case of Blackburn have just scored apparently.
Yep. They're 1-0 up versus Sheffield United. Everybody in the top 4, apart from Burnley, are losing.
But that goal is massive for Blackburn because that's just took them from 8th to 6th.
Here's an annoying thing. We gave them their playoff push.
Yeah.
That draw versus us gave them a bit of a spark, and they're now seated in the playoff push.
It would be really nice for Wednesday to win this, though, actually, because it's a dead rubber sort of thing, but it would put us on 60 points, which is quite a solid season, if we can get another goal here.
If you also look at like the actual table, it would have mean we were 8 points off it.
Yeah.
And that would have been nice to be having in that kind of...
I mean, it could still happen, Yeah.
A lot of goals.
United losing again, their playoffs are going to be interesting because they've just fallen off a cliff, haven't they?
Yeah.
Sunderland have probably got the worst form going into it.
Yeah. Well, the playoffs, I'm debating whether or not, and I might ask you on one of them, I might do a watch along just for the playoffs, so just to have a little bit of a fun where we're not involved and just see what happens.
Yeah, it could be interesting.
But if you look at it, but also look at the whole narrative at the minute with some of the clubs. So many clubs have sacked managers this month, last month, and it changed stuff. Norwich have got... what's it called? Ex-Arsenal player Jack Wilshere in charge. Ramsey's in charge at Cardiff, and they've gone down. You look at QPR have put their manager on gardening leave because he was approached by another club. It's like there's so many different narratives. I don't think everybody's in a good position in the Championship. There's a couple of clubs, but I think there's so many clubs that are going to have such a weird change in the summer. I think it can be really, really interesting to see how the summer goes with the whole Championship.
Well, there's been a lot of talk this week, hasn't there? So there's not really games to talk about in that. We'll keep you updated on the games through it. But if we actually get into our news section, I'll start with this story basically. This is from the Star, and it reads as follows. Danny Rule urges Sheffield Wednesday to decide basic things ahead of lively summer. Sheffield Wednesday's soon-to-be out-of-contract cohort look to discover their fates after the season, with Danny Rule forecasting another lively summer at S6. Speculation over the manager's future aside, the squad itself is set for potential big changes, with a raft of senior players approaching the end of their deals. Though Wednesday's policy of secrecy over contract lengths makes things trickier to ascertain than at other clubs, the Star understands a double-figure tally of individuals are coming to the end of the current deals, with some carrying extension clauses. 3 loanees will also see their stints come to a close. Rull said last week that he had made recommendations to the club over decisions that should be made and urged them to make prompt decisions in order to allow a swift start to their summer plans. A collaborative approach to big decisions has been routine at Wednesday in recent years, but it's really hard to read a document when you've got a game in the other eye.
Yeah.
In recent years, but with a question mark handing over his future this summer, it stands to complicate matters. Asked who exactly makes the ultimate decisions, there wasn't a definitive answer. The 36-year-old told the Star, quote, "We spoke in the past with the recruitment, with the trusted people of the chairman about this, and what I think, what is my feedback from the season, what is necessary and what is not necessary. I hope in the next days, especially after Watford, that it is a busy week for the club. Then you can make quick decisions. It is most important now that everybody knows in what direction it goes, and this should be a big goal for the next weeks. Because then you can continue, make decisions, step up, develop, bring players in and out. You should use this time as soon as possible now. What is important, as always, is the club. It's not a single person. If you make a decision together, it is better and it has to be important for the club. If you make a decision together, it is better and it is important for the club. That should be in our mind. The likes of Barry Bannon.
No, isn't it?
It's
weird with this situation because Darren Moore said, let's not have this happen again. Twice. Yeah. Danny said last season, let's not let this happen again. And it's like they don't learn.
Let's read out this list then. This is from the same article. The likes of Barry Bannon, Josh Windass, Stuart Armstrong, Michael Owekwe, Michael Smith, Paul Valentin, Callum Patterson, Marvin Johnson and Anthony Masaba are among those approaching the end of their current deals. It is set to be another manic few months, regardless of any managerial upheaval. And then Danny just goes on to talk about, the fact that those deals are coming to an end. So out of those players, who do you actually realistically think's playing their last game for Wednesday right now? Or potentially, if they're going to come on.
Michael Smith,
yep.
Paul Valentin, Marvin
You think
Johnson.
Paul's going?
We had an opportunity in the January window to let him go, and we didn't.
Yeah.
It's weird if you don't, and he's hardly played this season.
That's true.
That's the only reason that makes me go, maybe he's out the door. Marvin Johnson, I think, is it done? Josh's situation weird because one bit people say there's an option on him, other people say the option's his, it's an option he can choose, it's up to him. Now, I don't see that because I don't see how that works out at a club level. If it's the player's option, if that choice kind of thing, that doesn't make sense. But that would be a very Wednesday thing to put in a contract just to keep a player happy.
Yeah.
Luton are down.
They've just gone 4-1 down against West Brom. It's annoying for West Brom that the other teams are doing well because they would look for a push today, wouldn't they?
Yeah. But you look at the players who are out. I think Masaba we may have an option on, which I hope we do, because I want that.
Yeah, I think we shouldn't let him go for nothing.
You look at the players who are out of contract and you look at how everything is. Put aside manager situation, because if you want to go down the manager situation to the side, he's in a contract. Whoever wants him is going to have to pay for him. So we'll get money for the manager one way or another. But it's one of those weird situations where I don't like this every season. With the moment we knew we were mathematically safe and not going down, the contract talk should have started. And they haven't. And it's all down to cash and funds and stuff like that, because the moment where you would have done it for us, oh, look, we didn't pay players on time or anyone.
Yeah, I think... I don't think Windass is the best fit for us at the minute either. I like Windass a lot, but I just think there's been too many situations recently where, I don't know, it just looks like he's long for the door. We play this game every summer with him. Will he, won't he? And I think it's time to look elsewhere.
I also think we need a big revamp of the squad anyway.
Yeah.
One of the names on that list that's not there is Palmer's last throw of the dice.
I think it is.
And if you actually look at what he's doing like on social media in terms of like getting his Palmer school of football going and working that time, is it a case of him maybe turning around and going
retiring?
Retiring. Sheffield United have just got to make it 1-1.
God, this race is heating up, isn't it?
Yeah. Unlucky.
So that drops. That will drop.
That will drop
Blackburn back out of that.
back out of it, and then it will put Bristol City into it.
Yeah, even losing.
Again.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
Interesting. Yeah, I think Palmer. I could see Palmer. I don't know.
As much as it sounds daft, I could see him going to Port Vale.
Maybe, but like I actually think because he's always been like a workshop lad and staying around Sheffield, I could see him going somewhere like Mansfield or something. He's fantastic. Yeah. He's better than Mansfield. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah,
but I think like if he wants to keep playing for a couple of years, keep it local. Go to Chesterfield is still National League, so not that low. But like
no, Chesterfield are League 2.
Are they League 2 now?
Yeah, they came.
All right, okay. Yeah, but somewhere local like that. I wouldn't think he'd go to Rotherham. I don't think he'd want to do that.
No.
I don't think he'd want to go to Barnsley either. I think he would be Mansfield have got a lot of ex-Wednesday players as well. It might just be a bit of a...
Blaine Gregory.
Yeah. And he'd be... Can you imagine Palmer in League 2? Fantastic.
Insane.
Yeah. But, yeah, I think Barry stays. I would be good because Barry's coming off now, by the way.
Yeah, Barry off.
I will weep if that's the last time we see him in a Wednesday shirt, and it better bloody not be.
I hope it's not. I think there's a thing with Barry Bannon. As long as his legs are still going, he gets a deal.
It should be. It should be. Because I just think, I think it was said this season, by me and by you, that when he came out of the side, we just looked so much worse, and then he comes back in, and all of a sudden we're playing better again.
Yeah.
And it's not a reliance on Barry Bannon. It just shows the quality. I think it just shows that, how much Barry Bannon has carried the Chancery era.
Yeah. He's been the signing of the Chancery era. Let's just call it that.
He has. He's been the only reason that we probably haven't been a lot lower.
Yeah.
Because Barry Bannon has stepped up in so many different situations.
Oh, Jesus Christ. It's 5-1 West Brom.
I know it is. Yeah.
Oh, Jesus.
See you later, Luton.
Bye.
Yeah, so Josh, I think it's time. Great. He looks great on paper, but I just think he does step up in certain games, but I just think it's time. I'm sick of the will he, won't he?
Yeah, I like to just see a little bit of clarity season, so we know, and not this whole lights are raid of, well, my contract said this, and then it says something else. It's one of those odd one with Josh.
I'd give Awekwe another deal, but I don't think he'll stay because I think Awekwe's been...
He's done well, though. He's done very well since he's come in.
His second half of the season, yeah. But I think he'd be going back to... I think he'd go back to being a squad player, and I don't think he wants that. No. I think he wants...
I think Pato's the same as well. Yeah. Pato's been really good this second half, and I really want Pato to stay. I just don't know how much of... The thing is... We don't have another player who puts the head in like Barry Bannon. Pato does. He'll put his head in where it hit. How many times this season have we called for Pato to come on, change a game, and he has done that by just being physical? No one else in the squad is physical.
I just think,
maybe bar Ingleson. Ingleson got a little bit of it.
I just think if we're getting rid of the likes of Windass, Smith, Pato's got to go as well. Pato is never not giving it 100%. But I look at the players we're bringing into this side now, Gassama, Masaba, even not to that same level. But we're looking at lone players such as Shea Charles and things like that. We're looking at energy with ability now.
I get that.
And Pato has got ability, but he's not the same sort of mold as that. And yes, you do need your players in there, the Jordan Henderson type figures to keep the level-headed playing field there. But I just think with Pato's positions, it doesn't work the same.
Your biggest issue you're going to have in the summer is if this is how we're going, we're losing. And it's not a bad thing, but we are losing a massive core. So we have to have a new identity built.
Yeah, but I think it's a benefit in the fact you can clean slate it.
I think that will help. I think it will help, but they have to be the right player from the off. We can't have the situation like we had with Sicko where it was a bit of up and down.
I don't think we have seen a Wednesday reset.
It's always been a bit of a rebit, like
Yeah.
a little bit there, a little bit here.
How many times have we said we'll see a rebuild?
And we haven't really seen one.
Yeah.
If you're going on a big rebuild, the likes of that happen. So your Smiths, your Pattersons, your Johnsons, your Wade, they all go.
Yes.
But if you want to have scary time, 11 players in this match day squad and 6 that are starting are either out of contract or on loan and done at the end of the season. And we only have a 28-man squad, and we don't have many players in contract either. And if we're meant to be having potentially a season where everything's up in the air and we're not sure, we're going to have to either rebuild with worse than what we've already got, which will be bad. And I mean, it'd be really bad because that will be, you're looking at.
Oh, what a save, Charles.
Or you are able to have some reassurances that it's going to be the better player and everything look better. It's gonna be on such a knife edge.
Yeah. Can I throw a spanner in the works?
Go on.
Or an optimistic spanner? We've seen the pressure ramping up on Chansiri. We've heard more and more about investment, takeovers and the likes.
Yeah.
What if that happens?
If that happens, then great.
This is the perfect time to clear all those players out.
Yeah.
But even if
that is great.
Even if Chansiri stays and he sorts whatever's happening with Danny out, right? And Danny's staying and we're planning.
Yeah.
Give him a clean slate. Because here's the thing as well. I think Danny with a clean slate, even if we did leave it like halfway through the season or whatever, you start building.
Yeah.
And you can build on top of that. And any players that are going to come in under a Danny Rule system are going to fit this. Yeah, Charles has been exceptional. But this is what I'm saying. Look at the players that are coming through. Pierce, Charles, right?
I'll
take Bayo. Yeah.
Cads. McNeil will probably all get a bit of a run next season.
Or a loan or a run,
I think he'll get a run next. Well, the thing is, if you're saying Josh Windass goes, I think McNeil's your Josh Windass replacement. He's already played him. He played him at a 10. He played McNeil in a 10 when he played. He's not played in a striker.
But what happens if, this is what I've wanted to see also, what if you put Barry Bannon back as that 10? Because I loved seeing Barry Bannon further forward. I know Barry didn't fully play as a 10, but you know what I mean? More
that you could do that. But I think if you look at how many times Barry Bannon actually pulls himself back into that defensive role when he's playing at a 10, I think it's that ye old Sunday League football. I'm not describing Barry Bannon as a Sunday League footballer, but you start as a striker, you go to midfield, you go to wing, you go back. That whole progression where he's better in that like deeper role. He's got a better eye of the pitch as well. Where he can.
It's so easy to forget that bloody Carlos was playing him as a right midfielder.
Yeah.
Or left midfielder or wherever he played him. Because I just remembered looking at the lineups from back, and I was like, Barry's like on the wide midfield.
Can I also give you an option as well? And I'm really annoyed about this, but we needed him. Would you give Armstrong a deal, yes or no, with him being 33?
His injuries aren't. You see, that's the thing I'd rather take a risk on than somebody like Windass and to give him a year. Because Armstrong, I saw what he did at Southampton, right?
Yeah. Give him a full pre-season.
Yeah. Because I also think you've got the thing where it's sometimes bad to have players that are too established in a club.
Yeah.
So Windass will have a lot of pull because he's been here for a while. You know, if you get players in there that aren't, so like Pato kicks things when he comes off and things like that, you know, players that have been here that want to play, it's a case of they start to feel like, oh no, well I should be playing. I've got the loyalty to this club. If you have a reset, you do reset that as well. Someone like Armstrong's going to want to come in and prove that he does deserve the shirt.
Yeah.
Mr. Major there says, see, I'm with you, Dex. Barry Bannon as a 10, give him the free roll. Could help with his aging legs. Well, it depends on where we play him in as a 10. If he was like one of them blistering 10s that got him behind and things. But I actually do think you could just use his vision there and nurse him through games. He doesn't have to do what he does and drop deep all the time. It does look like that. Kabachi, what do you think about that? Because he's a player
he looked really good when he was playing, and
he fell off.
And then he got that injury. It was more the injury. The injury killed him, and he's not been able to have that momentum back since. And he's on a 4-year deal, so maybe it was a case of like get used to the championship, and then we'll see a bit more you next season.
Yeah.
But how you rate Ingleson for full season?
I think he's looked good in flashes, and I think there's a player in there. I think it's going to be a case of he's one of those on the fence players.
Yeah.
And he's sort of the player again that I would want to. If you look at the age difference between him and Windass, we need to be looking at wages and allocating our wages correctly now, putting it into something like Ingleson. Also, I do think we need to if you think about the players that Danny's had, he's had these aging players here that aren't always going to be able to press in a system. What we need now is energy and legs in a lot of these positions. And I think that's got to be our focus of transfers this window. Yeah, look definitely. At Ingleson when he plays, he's got legs, he's got power. I can see the idea of the signing. Some of his decision making is interesting, but I can see a player there. Yeah. And
I think Ingleson's on a long-term deal anyway, so I don't think that's a.
But I don't know if Shalaba's out of contract. I kind of hope he's not, because people might have said, he's injured for most of the season, but I
think he got another year.
He's so calm in midfield, especially now Shea Charles is going. Yeah. We need to. That's the thing, right? I put on Twitter. Did you see how quick I was on this one with the Norwich release players? That Jacob Sorensen player, right? Yeah. I even beat the journos to that one. It's not because I just signed him on FIFA. It's not genuinely. It's because I remember
He's a good player.
I remember how good he was. Now I've got to say he's not had a great season.
No,
but then
again, Norwich as a team haven't had a great season.
No, but a couple of seasons ago for Norwich, when they got promoted, that Farker side actually,
he was really good.
He was really good. And the only reason I'd say he's a free, and I got a few, he's a free for a reason. Look at the situation we're in. He's 27 and a CDM, right? And he's free.
Yeah.
I would be looking at certain players like that just for depth. If we're looking at depth, that's a player that comes in and maybe gets something out of a Danny Rule system, because I think it could work.
Yeah, the thing is, like, you look at like a Jamal Lowe as well. Jamal Lowe, play him as that wingery player like he did at Swansea.
Is he out of contract? Or
he was on a 2-year.
Oh, no. He needs to go.
I think he was a 2-year.
He's been useless this season. Sorry, Jamal.
But we haven't played him how Swansea played him. Swansea played him as a winger that cut inside. We tried to play him as an out-and-out striker, and that's not his role.
That's because we've got better wingers at the club, though, mate.
Yeah. Gassama and Masaba, they put a lot of players out of that position. It's like, if you're someone who's coming into the club to take over, you look at some of the players we've got. The first thing you go in is Gassama, here's a new deal.
Yeah.
Masaba and kind of thing. It's going to be really interesting what we do in terms of who gets what deals, if there's any improved deal to players. And it's all up in the air. Like, managers and players come and go. We know this. And I don't want Danny to go. But the other thing is, like, I got told that all the Wednesday staff have been given all their contract negotiations before the Watford game, because you got to remember, they were all out of contract.
Yeah. So it's a case of, do we stay on? Do we?
Yeah. And I think there's a lot to it. Bristol are level now. Ooh. Preston, look at God Luton a crap.
I haven't spoken to you about obviously the implications that were made on Twitter about the fact that the engagement panel was not what the notes said. Now, I must say, we're not bound to any sort of contract, whatever to do with the fan groups, because we're not part of them, right? So we can say whatever we want. But it's a case of, like, it was implied on Twitter, and it was implied by people that I respect on Twitter as well, that the notes aren't accurate from the engagement panel, and Chinsiri went off a little bit more than it has been put in the.
Oh,
in
it
the
was
notes.
6 hours.
Yes.
And also to everyone who were saying why are the notes now, it was 6 hours. Our lass does minutes in her job, and if they have an hour meeting, it can take her 2 days just to get the minutes done, and then another day and a bit to get signed off on.
Mr. Major Astor's contracts, staff signed contracts now. As far as we are aware, we haven't seen them being signed.
All we know is that they've been offered new deals.
Yeah. So it's in that negotiation stage.
Yeah.
I think it's funny that it has to be a story that everybody was paid on time.
Yeah.
This month.
I literally sat here doing the video in my head I was like, how do I start this? I was go, businessmen pay employees.
But the problem was if they weren't paid.
If they are still not paid well, he got to still do May.
Yeah.
And we've got to get to 30th of June. If we have not paid people on time by 30th of June, we will be embargoed in the summer.
Mr. Major says to me, this is the biggest signal. Danny rolls off to whoever and taking his staff with him. I don't think the staff want to go, even if Danny goes. But also,
because
go on, carry on.
It was well known that Danny's staff hadn't signed a contract.
Also, people are worried about Southampton. I don't think Southampton are going for Danny anymore. I don't think they can afford him.
No, I don't think they can.
If Danny goes anywhere...
He put the club for sale, hasn't he?
Oh, I didn't know. Oh, I did see that. 125 million. Danny potentially might go back to Germany. But then you think about the staff he's brought in, they're probably not going to go with him if he was going to go anywhere. Like, he's talked about wanting to manage in Germany one day, etc.
Yeah.
But again, I think enough...
though, while we spoke about his family,
yeah,
there was a bit of pain there. Like he said, I've only seen him 10 times this season.
Yeah, enough happened. I think enough's happened this season though to maybe bring him round, and you could clean slate it in the summer. I'll be honest though, a decision has to happen now.
Yeah,
because if it doesn't, and we're dragging this on.
Roll on 5 p.m. when there's an emergency podcast.
Oh, God. I'm already struggling with the allergy cough, from the hay fever.
Yeah.
Eddie says, I think Bannon staying didn't look like a goodbye. No, it didn't look like a goodbye.
Josh is dead.
Yeah.
Josh is dead, but I think Josh has made his peace a little bit. Like I said, though, we got an option on. So if we turn around and say...
Can I just say, just because I'm saying it's probably best for Josh to move on now, that doesn't mean I actually don't think he could do a job. I don't think he could stay. Or I don't like him as a player. I do. Or a person. He seems all right. You know what I mean? But in terms of...
He's not bad for a player with no pace. Just saying.
That's still... That's going to be his memorialization when he leaves for proper. Because, I was a big... the reason that whole thing came about, though, Jake, is because I was backing him back then. And you were like, he's got no pace. And I was like, what? It was one of our first sound bites sort of thing. But, I think... Is Ugbo just come on?
Yeah, he has.
Oh, my God. The player... Can you imagine if it is the goal now? Come on, Ugbo.
Mr. Major, but what if it's a case of Danny brought this staff in here and it's not the staff he wants to go wherever he goes next play? You got
I don't think Powell wants to go anywhere else.
Everyone forgetting one big thing, and it's doing my absolute tree in. It's his first full season in charge.
Yeah.
Like, give the bloke some kind of situation. First season, he's learning first hand down with it. Like, he did handpick the staff, but what if out of all the staff, he's the only one that didn't bring his family over?
Can I also say he's had a fall off at the end of the season, which will affect his value slightly. I don't think he's going anywhere.
I personally don't think he's going anywhere.
No, that's not an in the know thing, etc. That would be a gut feeling of it's going to be a correction. There's always going to be a bad taste for a while, but I reckon you do a clean slate in the summer.
I think it's going to be interesting to see what happens because at the end of the day, whoever comes in for him is going to have to pay for him. Yeah. He's got a compo clause. So whatever happens will get paid.
Should we get into some positives, though? This is from the start. Yeah. Sheffield Wednesday's academy set for a 7-figure revamp, which, Jake, I'm sure you were cheering at after all you've ever said about this. Sheffield Wednesday's academy's facilities will be undergoing a hefty revamp over the summer, which is set to cost a 7-figure. Are we building it in Barnsley? A 7-figure sum in total. The club will undergo the usual renovations ahead of the 2025-26 campaign, with the senior training pitches being ripped up and relaid, while there is also believed to be talk about further upgrades to the first team facilities as well. Yeah, I saw that before you did that. One thing is definitely in the works. One thing that is definitely in the works, however, are substantial upgrades to the academy structure at Middlewood Road, with new state-of-the-art artificial pitch being installed, as well as 4 new dressing rooms, new male and female officials changing rooms, and a new reception area. This is also going to be a social area built so scholars and parents can watch the training, quote, from an indoor environment, end quote. The new pitch, which is the same as the one used by Dutch Eredivisie giants PSV Eindhoven, has been described as the most grass-like artificial surface available in the world. It will be laid by the club's training dome, which is due to remain in place. It is understood that the upgrades are due to set the club back a 7-figure sum, but it is deemed an important step in order to separate the academy from seniors as much as possible, whilst also giving youngsters the best experience they can. New academy manager John Pepper is thought to be having a big hand in the changes being made, as he looks to improve the academy's output when it comes to players making it at first team level. And the hope is that in years to come, the benefits will be there for all to see. Right. It is unknown. Sorry, going towards a bit more at the end of the article. It is unknown at this point when the plan changes will be completed, but the hope, no doubt, is to have as much of it done and dusted by the time the players return for pre-season in a few months' time.
Here's my thing. This was one of the things Danny wanted at the start of the season. He said he wanted the training ground and the youth side of things working a little bit better. And he did say it was going to take a while before these things to come into play.
Do you think there's been outside involvement in this?
I've been told it was an EFL grant.
Yeah, I've heard the same.
And if that's the case, then
that's
fantastic.
Not what the article says. No, but, credits to Chancery if it's not. But I have. That's what I was hinting at. I didn't know if you'd say it.
Yeah, I think there's been some sort of grant where club can apply for it, you get it, and you get it sorted. And anyone who needed to go round our training pitch at the FL and walk around and go, yeah, that needs improving, they just go, here's the cash, go do what you need to do.
I think there might be slightly more to it than that, but yeah, I saw a few rumours about it being an EFL grant, which, to be honest, it's not really. It's needed doing either way,
Yeah.
And if Chancery is paying for it, that why only now? But fair play, it needs doing, And
the thing is,
our academy needs to be more important if we're going to become one of them clubs that churns through talent. Basically,
They go back to your clean slate thing though.
Yes,
because this is a clean slate in the academy. John Pepper came in because Steve Haslam left to go to do another job, and Steve Haslam's been here for years and years. So we've got a clean slate in the academy going forward. So is this a situation where John Pepper sounds like he's having a big hand in what gets said? It then sitting down with Danny going, how are you wanting to play next? How are you meant to do X, Y, and Z? And him going, right, what do we need to improve? And if we get these things, then fantastic. And it came out in the EP panel about this and stuff. And I will say something with the panel and stuff. The fact that DC could not understand why none of the panel wanted to speak about Danny as a topic blow my mind. That he thought that was going to be the biggest topic out of all of it.
I thought it'd be quite a big part of it, but again, if the notes weren't accurate, there possibly was some conversations about. You never know, I've also realised that my image on this has been potato because my Wi-Fi this season, man. Like
You went
I
to
need.
Lego.
I hope the audio was unaffected. I mean,
Audio fine. Video wise, it's not. You're choppy.
Because in StreamYard it looks fine,
Yeah.
absolutely fine. But I've just looked on the YouTube feed and it looks like I'm in Minecraft. But we do have the audio going through this, guys. So if you are audio listeners, we will have I will also master the audio slightly to make it a better
You look
quality.
like you're in witness protection.
I've already got allergy coughs. Don't make me laugh. But yeah, this second half's been a bit crap, to be honest.
Boring.
Yeah, it has. But that's the. I would have wanted a boring season at the start, Jake, and it looks like
well, to be fair, we got a boring season on the pitch, just off the pitch. We decided to do what Wednesday carry on doing.
Mm-hmm. Yep. It was also worth mentioning that we were mentioned in the House of Commons.
Yes.
About our financial, which is going to put Chansiri under more pressure, and I don't think he'll like that at all.
No, it's not. It's not a good thing. And to be fair, I don't know how much of what the MP said and just talking point from bits off Twitter or what he's been told. Risky game doing that. I'll just say it as that, risky.
It's so many people have started to leak stuff on X as well, and like and say stuff, like there's been a lot of talk about Wednesday and a lot of rumors, and maybe we'll do a Talking Wednesday extra where we go through all the rumors. That'd be interesting. Let's look at. Sorry,
to be fair though, if you look at what's happened today, Reading has got a takeover sorted, so it does show it that if you do keep, there's still a lot of people who are very well. DC put this amount of money in. What have we put in? Have I does an owner that put we're not saying he's not putting the money in, but the ways the things should be run as in a football club that this place ain't run right.
Oh, there's been a goal in the West Brom Luton game.
5-2. Is it 6-1? Oh, they got two.
Oh, there's 5-3 now.
Oh, maybe it ain't gonna come back.
I mean, they only have 2 minutes left.
Did someone pass a message on to West Brom going, "You're ruining the script, lads"?
Doing the double relegation. I look like a PS2 game. I know. I can't. I do need to Ethernet every time now. It's because last season I did Ethernet every time, but then half of the way through I stopped doing it and it was fine. But I just need to Ethernet now. It's just a pain because it's a rented house, so I can't really drill holes in the floor, which is what I'd want to do, to like feed wires through the office and things. But I have to literally drag an Ethernet cable across the living room and up over the stairs and into the room every time.
In one of the houses we rented, I literally tacked the Ethernet cable to the wooden stair bits and just had it wrap around. So I had, and the office at the time was at the very, very top of the house. So it was very warm. It's when you had to start doing that because your actual Wi-Fi sucks. It's not fun.
It depends. I might change job at some point soon. We'll see. And then I'll move again. We'll see.
I'll say get Starlink, but if it's cloudy, it's going to be expensive. Yeah. And it's something stupid like it.
We can get good Wi-Fi here, but it's a case of they're usually for 24-month contracts, and I don't want to tie myself into that.
Yeah, makes sense.
But yeah, let's have a look at the state of things as we go into the last minutes of the game. So we're in the 90th minute everywhere. Preston are 2-2 with Bristol City. So
I really thought they may have actually gone down today.
But, yeah, I know it could have happened. Steady Preston messing it up. Burnley
by the way, Preston, you know that Emil Rees who scored against us?
No.
Norwegian player or Denmark. He's out of contract in the summer.
All right, okay. Fair enough. We'll have him then.
Yeah.
Burnley have got 100 points, by the way, if it stays like this, because Burnley are 2-1 up against Millwall, so they finished the season on 100 points. Bloody parachute payments, eh?
Aye.
But yeah, Plymouth needed a miracle today. It's not happened. Cardiff were already relegated, and they've lost 4-2 on the last day as well, by the looks of it. I must say, though, the teams at the bottom just show how crap they've been. The teams scrapping for their lives today have been Stoke. You can probably drag Oxford into it, but they're safe. Stoke, Derby, Preston, Hull, and Luton all scrapping for their lives. Luton lose, Hull are drawing, Preston are drawing, Derby are drawing, Stoke are drawing. Like, it's not like any of them have gone for it, is it?
If you look from Wednesday down, apart from Portsmouth, everyone has at least changed the manager.
Yeah.
Well, technically not changed, but he's on gardening leave, so it counts.
And I was trying to change.
And Watford, Watford kept cleverly this season, didn't they?
Wouldn't hear the last of it if Frank Lampard's Coventry got promoted. Yeah, he's done all right, though, to be fair to Frank Lampard. I think he's an all right manager. He's just not, it's his name that carries it.
Go on, then. Let's have playoffs. Who are we thinking? Final.
Well, it's not confirmed yet, is it? We got a couple of minutes to confirm it. But if it is, goal. Oh, Leeds have just gone 2-1 up at Plymouth. So
they could go top now, can't they?
Maybe. Let's have a look. I think that would put them top with their goal difference. Yeah, I think that's. Oh God, Leeds are going to win the league.
To be fair, with that squad, they should.
Yeah, they should. Yeah, that's the live table's taking a second to update, but I'm looking at it with their goal difference. That goal should make them win the league. So that means two teams finish on 100 points as well, Leeds and Burnley.
Yeah.
Jesus. And then United in 10 points behind that in third. So the playoffs...
Look at the gap between third and fourth.
Yeah.
Ridiculous.
Yeah, 76 points being fourth. That's crazy. So if as it stands, it would be Sheffield United, Sunderland, Coventry, Bristol City. I'd like to see Bristol City do it, but it'll be, I reckon it could be Coventry or the Pigs.
Yeah.
I don't want the Pigs to do it. Sorry, rival. Like obviously, that's not a sorry thing. But the more they're in the Premier League, the more they get money. The more they. I've got to hope that the gap doesn't get relevant. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. And they've already got money coming in now.
Oh, late goals. Burnley have just gone 3-1 up against Millwall. It doesn't do anything. Oxford have just equalised at Swansea. 3-3 that game. Yeah, so that put
1-1 here, all done. We are mid-table out, which we wanted all season.
Yeah, so that's Wednesday's game over. That's Wednesday's season over. We will see what happens with the managerial situation there.
Manager played the lot.
The Premier League is Aston Villa beating Fulham currently into the 7th minute of added time there. Does that put them into well, they're not obviously finishing. But they'd be up there.
Start of the season, we all said we wanted mid-table.
We did.
Just saying. We all wanted that mid-table season.
We started overachieving. What annoys me is when people, I put this on Twitter before I went away, people started to slate Danny and they didn't realize that we were just overachieving. Like they forget that they're like, oh, well, these players, we should be doing better with these players. No, we shouldn't. This is why I'm saying, Jake, I don't mind a clear out, right?
Yeah.
Half of these players aren't good enough for the level that we want to be at, right? They don't get into top half of the table teams.
Yeah.
Bluntly,
Yeah.
But yeah, I think that does put us solidly, just keeps us solidly in 12th on
also in 12th, yeah.
Yeah, 58-point finish.
That run at the end was poor for us. It's our home form that's been the issue.
Yeah, it would mean we finish 9 points clear of the drop. And it would also mean that we finished 8 points off the playoffs. So bang mid-table, do you know? 10 points off the playoffs because Bristol City are in there currently. So
And how weird has it been just last game of the season and we're not involved?
I know, but I kind of like it.
Yeah, it was lovely. It was lovely in that sense, but
Yeah.
it's a weird situation now because we've now got the what do we do next in a sense with everything, and it's going to be busy.
I love the summer.
Yeah,
I do love it. Even though there's a lot of controversy going on with Wednesday, there's always that bit of excitement in there, right?
Yeah.
What could happen?
Who could come in? Who could we look at?
There's been potential. We just need to... It's a very strong statement if we do have a clean slate and we really focus with Danny and we get something. I think something needs to be said this week.
I think it will be.
Yeah. Either way, we need to know. We need to look forward.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, it sounds like Chansiri is not learning at all.
No.
So I'm not very optimistic. But I bloody hope we get a sale. I really hope someone comes in. I do. It's worth mentioning. Apparently, the consortium, the American consortium, offered 43 million. A lot of people are saying, "Oh, why ain't it selling at that?" I put onto it, I think our valuation's probably more, if you want in the stadium, is more realistic around 60, 65, if a realistic offer. If I'm being honest.
Yeah.
Because he paid 30 for us, didn't he?
40. 39. Yeah.
Yeah. So
you're only giving him 45, you're only giving him 5 million.
And with inflation, you're giving him nothing. Yeah. Right. And I understand, like, the scenario, well, if you keep just repairing your house, then you're not actually, you know, if you just keep it to the standard you bought it at, you're not really improving on the value. But in terms of football, I think we are probably more of a 60 million proposition, 65. If Southampton can go for 125, I think you would be very angry at Chansiri if he was offered 60 to 65 and he didn't take it.
Yeah.
Because that would be ridiculous. Because I think
it's also you also look at it as well as going, why are you here if it's giving you also health problems? Yeah. Like you said in the engagement panel. It's like, you've given us some good times. You have. And you've given us that little bit of belief at one point. But at the same time, you've given us so much bad times as well. It's not been in the best state at times, if that makes sense. It's like, you could say it's a Jekyll and Hyde kind of ownership.
A Jekyll and Hyde?
Oh, Jekyll and Hyde, sorry. Yeah. You know what I mean? You know what I meant?
Eddie says, what would you rate this season out of 10? Solid 7.
Yeah, 7. I'll give it a 7. Yeah.
It's where I want mid-table. Mid-table.
All season when we were going, playoff, we both gone. It'll be nice, but just give up mid-table.
Yeah.
Hey, for once, my season prediction came right. Yay.
I put us in 8th. I thought, and to be honest, it looked like we'd finish in 8th for quite a while. We just had that fall off, but it happened.
Luton down, but if you look at it, they're only down on goal difference.
Yes, they are.
Jesus.
So the results finished today as follows: Bristol City 2, Preston 2, Burnley 3, Millwall 1, Coventry 2, Middlesbrough 0, Derby 0, Stoke 0, Norwich 4, Cardiff 2, Plymouth 1, Leeds 2, Portsmouth 1, Hull 1. Sheffield United is in the 10th at a minute, but it's currently 1-1 with Blackburn. Sunderland 0, QPR 1, Swansea 3, Oxford United 3, Watford 1, Sheffield Wednesday 1, West Brom 5, Luton 3. Which means the table is as follows. After a brief cough, Leeds United are at the top of the league with 100 points.
Champions.
They are champions. Burnley, second on 100 points. Behind goal difference of 12 difference between those two sides.
Yeah, can I just make a point? 16 goals conceded all season.
Yes.
That is ridiculous.
Excellent defensive record. But they just didn't score enough. They scored 69 goals. Nice. In third is Sheffield United with 90 points. Sunderland take the 4th spot with 76. Coventry take the 5th spot with 69 points. Nice, Frank. 6 is Bristol City with 68 points. Blackburn just miss out on 66 points.
The massive run that people have had in that mid-table has been really interesting.
Bloody allergies, man. Hay fever is doing my nut in. I never used to have hay fever. Why did I develop it?
Got old.
Yeah, I know. Bottom of the league is Cardiff City on 44 points. Plymouth Argyle. I thought they were good. Wasn't there a lad on their podcast that said that like we were going down and they were going to. Yeah,
there was.
Unlucky, mate. 46 points.
Well done, Wayne. You've relegated 3 teams from the Championship now.
Luton, 49 points going down on goal difference, as you said, to Hull City just clinging on there on 49 points. Preston on 50 points. The magic 50 was enough to keep people up again. Derby County finishing on 50 points. Stoke on in 18th on 51 points. And
just shows your whole don't sack your manager.
It was ridiculous, wasn't it? But yes, that is the Championship finish now, just like that. So we have a playoffs of Sheffield United, Sunderland, Coventry, and Bristol City. It will be Sheffield United versus Bristol City and Sunderland versus Coventry.
Probably I think Sunderland, the weird one in this one.
It's just their form. Do they bounce back? Yeah. Their form's awful. They've lost 4 and drawn 1 in their last 5. Coventry's has been hit and miss. Bristol City's has been hit and miss. And United has been the playoff teams have been fumbling.
There's nobody in that run that you look at that you go, oh, they got a chance.
I like Sunderland, don't get me wrong, but just for some change. Actually, no, I don't want the Frank Lampard's Coventry.
Bristol City.
I'd like it to be a Bristol City Sunderland final if possible.
Yeah,
that's what I would like to see happen. But
Sunderland, last 10 games form puts them in the bottom 3.
Yeah, it's crazy.
That's how bad it's been. It's going to be an interesting playoff because everyone it feels like it's the first playoff in a while where everyone can beat everyone. It's not just one team.
Plus, if Bristol City go up, everybody will just call them Bristol, and that'll annoy them as much as when we get called Sheffield.
Yeah, that's true.
So they can have that pain again. But anyway, in terms of, yes, some people thanking us for the content this season. Thank you very much. However, I must say, this is probably when our content ramps up.
Yeah.
So this is where we're on YouTube more and more and more. So please subscribe if you haven't already. Make sure you tune into the Talking Wednesday podcast, where there'll be Talking Wednesday clips you can imagine. Anytime there's even speculation over a player, there will be a video on it. Yep. Yeah, exactly. But I am going to go and get a drink or something before I cough my entire guts up with these allergies, Jake. But it's been lovely to chat to you again. Yeah, I'm sure you're going to go and shout into a microphone for this match review now.
I am indeed. Well, not really shout, more just a case of going, well, it is what it is. It's the end of the season. Now I'm going to have 2 days of recuperation and then everything's going to go to hell in a handbasket.
Pretty much. We will, if there's any fallout from today, we will be doing the next podcast next week. But if we need to do an emergency podcast, I'm sure that can be arranged. But Jake,
make sure you hit the notification bell.
Yes. It has been good to be on the podcast again, and we will be and regular formatting will resume over the summer. So take care, guys, and we will see you in the next episode of Talking Wednesday.
See ya.